Alright everyone, now it's time to talk about irony. Link in the description, it's not archived because it's a video from YouTube. Toxic Biden, he wants to drain the poison back out of our country. He got into the Christmas spirit, after 2 years non-stop of fucking literally everything up to say, well, I think there's too much toxicity and hate and fear in our culture. We need to get rid of that. We need to drain the wound. We need to prevent the infection from spreading further. And then I'm thinking to myself, this is the same Biden that appeared before the dictatorial-looking red glare and waved his fists around like he was power mad, like he's trying to be the next Mussolini or something, and rambled about how evil everyone that disagrees with him is. This is the same Biden that effectively insinuated people were traitors if they didn't want to wear a face diaper. If they wanted to go to work, they were malcontents and ne'er-do-wells and shit like that. That constantly rambles about how everyone other than his own family that happens to be Caucasian is virulently racist. That rambles about those evildoers in the medical industry. We used to celebrate them, the TikTok nurse crowd, but now they're fighting my OSHA mandate, and so now they're evildoers. Those evil doctors and nurses and shit like that. There's an entire litany. I've been making videos about this now for the entirety of Biden's stewardship. I won't justify it with the term presidency because he's cuckoo and out to lunch and clearly should be 25th and removed from office for his mental incapacity, if nothing else. There are other reasons, but that was the first one. Never should have been sworn in to begin with because lunatics aren't supposed to lead nations. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be of sound mind when you're chief executive. When you have the nuclear codes, it's important to not accidentally press them, thinking it's the one to have your secretary sent to your room to give you your anal massage in order to help you pass the last bran muffin and prune smoothie that you had. Biden has been one of the foremost in adding to the toxicity of U.S. political discourse, along with many of his friends. Kamala's on the list. Buttigieg is rather quiet most of the time. He occasionally gets in a one-liner, and otherwise they keep him in the back as a sort of joke, in the back, as the runner of trains, the transport secretary, former mayor of South Bend. The jokes write themselves. It's such low-hanging fruit, I refuse to even do that any further. Maxine Waters, excellent example. Schumer less so. Nancy Pelosi doesn't let him speak too much. She'd be on the list, though. Hillary Clinton, not currently in office. It's private citizen Hillary at this point, but she does have political clout for some reason. Still there. AOC. I get them mixed up because they're both part of that freshman incoming younger female congressperson crowd. Boebert, the more intelligent, obviously, of the two. AOC. Rashida Tlaib, and Omar, basically the geek squatters. Elizabeth Warren, she's constantly rambling about things like that. If there's any toxicity in U.S. politics, it comes mainly from leftoids in the Uniparty. It's not coming from evil populists that they want to seize power and secure the border. How tyrannical, authoritarian, fascistic, and wrong. Literally every other president, left, right, and center, has rambled about the issue for the last 50 years, but, to actually do anything about it is evil. You're only supposed to talk about it when you're running for election. Notice that Biden is the first one that really did. He alluded to it very briefly early in the primaries, and once he realized that he had it in the bag, he abandoned the issue entirely to get the leftoids on board. Even Obama, even Jimmy fucking Carter himself, head bleeding heart liberal of our age, kind of the last age at this point, 1970s, of course. It was back when Leonard Nimoy was telling people another ice age was coming, just to be clear. Last time there was a storm like the one we just had in the Buffalo region, with freezing ocean covering things in icicles and 5 feet of snow, they chalked it up to the fact that the Earth was going to rapidly cool and we were going to have woolly mammoths again. Well, the times they are changing now, aren't they? Oh, that's right. Science relies upon evidence. Okay, whatever. We won't even get into that either. No, the toxicity of U.S. culture is partially that. And also, I would add, there's a layer of censorship-driven, very government-centric toxicity as well. One could conceive of in the United States, because of our civic traditions, attacks on the U.S. Constitution would constitute toxicity. The fact that a government would be incepted that would not only look askance to elements of the Constitution, at least in practice, at least in the interpretation thereof, we've gone far beyond that. to a government which some members openly insinuate a willingness to repeal elements of the Constitution. For the very first time in U.S. history, by the way, any repeal of the Constitution that would reduce individual agency. To be clear, the only other time we're talking about the removal of prohibition, which never should have been incepted in the first place. We added a constitutional amendment to deprive people of a preconceived liberty. That's the only time it got repealed. Good riddance, by the way, of course. If people want to drink, they should be able to drink. Just don't go driving. Don't be an asshole. Idiot. Toxic Biden, I want to drain the poison out. We need to do something about this level of toxic verbosity within our socio-political debates. Why? Number one, it's not going to happen because people find it entertaining. There's a lot of shit stirring on the internet alone, so I don't think we can avoid it. If anything, we're going to careen off an edgier and edgier cliff over time until we tear each other apart. Number two, you add to it. And number three, you seem to enjoy it. I didn't see Joe Biden call out Maxine Waters when she called for people to stay in the streets and her openly harass members of the Trump administration. I didn't see Biden calling for calm when an actual attempted insurrection occurred in D.C. over the Kavanaugh appointment. I seem to recall parts of the city were burning, the White House went into lockdown, and people started assaulting Secret Service members. Also, prior to that, BLM invaded the Senate. Did they get kicked out, shot at, or called traitors and insurrectionists? Or did the people in there take the knee, throw up the black power fist, and pray with them? That's what they did. It's very interesting, this double standard. You're never supposed to forget events when they are conveniently spun in favor of the uniparty's propaganda. If it's inconvenient, don't talk about it too much. Waukesha, or anything. The Kenosha verdicts. No, Biden's not going to drain shit. He can barely even drain his bowels. He needs a prostate massage in order to pass his prune smoothie and bran muffin of the morning, have his bowel movement, then he goes and he has his nappy. They put him to bed for a fucking couple of hours, and then he feels better. They give him his ice cream. He's allowed a little bit of ice cream each day. You know, he's demented, and supposedly ice cream is good for Alzheimer's patients. And then he takes another nappy. And then they briefly allude to the course of the day, like, here's the news. We'll go to CNN.com. And then they probably grease monkey it up to remove anything that he'll get mad at. Because, when you get Alzheimer's, you get tantrums. I'm sure he does have old man tantrums on a daily basis by now, because his brain is the only thing that's draining away. That's about all. Peace out.